Hello, nerds for Yang.
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! So nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, now with this
nerds!
bang, dang, it's and Drew, come roll with the Yang Gang.
Hello, nerds.
Nerds for Andrew Yang, what's going on? Hello, nerds.
Kai,
I finally get to say that.
Dude, you got to give another one with a little more enthusiasm, Kai.
I got it. Hello, nerds.
That's the Kai we know. I love it, brother. Dude, I have to tell you, I was a little worried after the suspension. I didn't see you, putting out a whole lot of tweets and videos, and I was like, man, I know how kind of invested you were in the movement. And so first of all, like, tell us a little bit about what what that transition was like, and even before, like how you processed that big change. And did you see that coming? Because I know a lot of us didn't, and it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, it was at that point I was in Nevada with Soy House. I was with a lot of the Yang Gang at that point when we heard the news. And then when that happened, I was still making videos, still, like there's still a path. It's not clear right now, but it'll come out. And then I took a solo trip to Europe about 2 weeks after that. So I went to London, Spain, Amsterdam. And then while I was out there, it was impossible for me to upload content because I was staying in hostels. I didn't have place to film, but I was like, that's okay. I want to take this break. We've been going hard for a while. And then as it kept on going, I don't know, there's a weird period where I wanted to keep on making content. But I wanted to change things up. That's what it was. I was still reading Twitter all the time, still looking at the content other people were pushing out. But for me personally, it was like so much of the thing that got me going, and the thing that like made filming every day so interesting was because I saw what the finish line was. And to me, that stopping, that was the finish line. The movement still 100% exists, and we still fight for UBI. But at the end of the day, it was him winning and going all the way with that. So it was only a rough period. I took it kind of rough, and I chilled out for a little bit. And in me chilling out and stepping away, I was able to find things that I really wanted to do. Like during the Yang stuff, I kept on saying, we got to be on TikTok. Like we have to be on TikTok. There's so many eyes on TikTok. It's incredible. And any video can blow up. And if you're sending a good message, it will blow up. And it's harder on YouTube, obviously, because it's not being pushed out to people automatically. It is about building that base. But TikTok can build you a base for real platforms like YouTube. They can build you a real base for platforms like Instagram. And so I just started doing that. I went so hard into TikTok afterwards, and I just had creativity sparked again, and so I found that like motivation again. But I didn't mean to like disappear, but I think that's definitely how it came across on Twitter, on YouTube, and all that stuff.
Well, I'm glad you're okay, man. I was because I remember seeing you talk about, I think you withdrew from school to kind of put more time into the campaign.
Yeah.
So that's like a big investment of your time. And I can't imagine, that must have just been a really hard transition point. Did you talk to, how did you manage your kind of recovery period? Did you talk to any Yang Gang, or did you actually like take a retreat and just clear your head and, think about stuff on your own?
I was talking. I have a couple friends that I'm always in contact with from Yang Gang, like Christina from Soy House, Danny, and Will Lexham. So I'll talk to them all the time. Christina, I'll talk to like almost every day. We just talk about what's going on. So that kept me intertwined. I knew what was going on Twitter through her, and so I saw that connection. But for the most part, it was kind of just me on my own.
Have you been following what Andrew has been up to since then, or are you?
Yeah. Not as much as before, but all his tweets come to my phone. I read all of them. I have post notifications on for him. Scott Santins, yourself, any of the guys that I used to read about, I still read. I'm still reading everything on Twitter. Yeah, I think it's an interesting space, that the interesting place that the Yang Gang is right now, especially online. You can argue whether it's super positive, or you can argue like maybe we're just kind of figuring out what needs to be done, and we don't really know quite yet with the direction. But that's kind of just what I've been observing over time. It's hard when we don't have the exact thing that we're fighting for, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
And I suspect if Yang announced the exploratory committee in 2022, like, we would unify pretty quickly. But I think we're still grasping for where to put our energies for the next
Right.
couple of years. And, I think it also illustrates the diversity of people that came out for Yang, because there were, there's all camps. And now that we don't have this unifying figure, we've sort of
You learn a lot more about people.
Yeah, and wherever we kind of came from. So what's your new content about? What are you talking about?
So it's commentary. It's everything going on the internet. It's mostly about it's for people basically my age and a little younger. And so on TikTok, I'm doing like a podcast style, and it's quick. It's made for TikTok, but from there the full versions are on YouTube, and that's where I get as many of my audience to YouTube as fast as possible. Get as many of them to my Instagram, our team's Instagram. It's not under my name; it's under a brand name. So it's a little bit more we're incorporated and everything. It's more of a business and more of a brand versus an individual. So it differs from my Yang content in that way. And it takes a team. We have 9 people on our team, and we haven't taken a break once since quarantine started.
Wow. That's a big effort. So what's the goal? Is it that you'll be kind of full timing this, or what are your plans?
So our first plan is we want a house for the whole team, because the team that I work with, we have about 9 of us. We're all the same age. We grew up together. And this is the point where our parents want us out of their house. And this is the point that a lot of my friends are taking school off because they believe in what we're doing, the money that can be made, the opportunities, and like the careers that they actually really want. So the first goal is a house, and that'd be a huge win for myself. Like, I'd be very content if I can if the team's all okay and we have a place that we can live on our own, because I learned a lot from living with the Yang Gang out in Iowa and stuff like that. And I think any big steps that we take from here, we need that experience for the entire team. So that's the big play for right now.
What was that like for you? Sort of, you're in university, you take a break, you move out to Iowa and Nevada with a bunch of folks that you hadn't lived with before. I just sit here from Switzerland making charts and doing interviews from time to time. You guys were in the trenches every day. What was that like?
What was that? It was in Iowa. It was just like we're leading a battle, basically. Like, everyone had a role. Everyone, it was also at the same time creating content every single day. So it was like a content house mixed in with actual activism. We were knocking on doors every single day. I learned a lot about like working with teams and how to live with other people. But overall, it was like Yang Week, except it was every single day. That's kind of how I can explain it. All the Yang Gang together, working nonstop.
And what are your parents? Are they encouraging you to pursue this new direction? Do they want you to go back to school, or what's their story?
So with so what I'm doing now and what I'm doing with Yang are different in a couple big ways, and my parents are okay with both of that. So the first one was with Yang. They believed in it. They believed in the movement. They thought it was what was best for me. And also I didn't fully drop out of school, but instead what I did was, you follow us on TikTok. That's sweet. Nice to meet you guys. Yeah, thanks, man. No, yeah, that's all. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's TikTok.
There you go, man.
Chris, that's great. So with the Yang event, I was taking off, and they believed in the movement, so they fully supported it, and I could come back to classes whenever I want. On just by signing up, because I go to an art school, and I didn't sign up for dorms or anything like that. But now it's the numbers coming in are a lot bigger, and the opportunities business wise and the money we're making right now, it's like my parents didn't believe in anything until they saw actual checks. Progress and actual action. Yeah, checks. It's checks. And so because of that, they now believe in it. They are doing everything they can. They're being supportive in ways that I could never like imagine, because they're reading up on everything. They're learning about the platform. They're learning about the like kind of the entertainment world, and when it comes to online. So they're vested in that way. And as long as there's still like money being made, there's still, I'm okay, I have a future. They're very content with that. And I was going to school for filming and art school as well. So I'm doing the same thing now. And I think of school as my backup plan. I can always return because I'm still a student there. I just haven't signed up for classes.
So what's your, I'm of two minds. On the one hand, I'm super excited that you're starting like another media brand and you're able to make content that you're passionate about. So that's awesome. On the other hand, I'm like, oh no, is the Yang Gang going to lose Kai Watson's voice when 2022 Exploratory Committee gets announced, because you were so influential and important for the movement?
I feel like, because I'm still just as passionate, it's my voice will be a lot more effective 4 years from now. That's kind of how I'm approaching it. Because when Exploratory Committee, when Yang's making any action, I have a way bigger platform now to push forward the things that I care about and things that I support. I think I can do the exact same thing I was doing, but bring a whole way bigger audience, bring way more conversion, and I can come back with more resources to be more effective in the fight. But no, that's the way I see it. I think that this is how I view like my way to be far more prepared for whatever comes out next.
Yeah. When you look back at the first time around, what do you think we did as a group, or you individually found that worked really well, that was effective? And then, what the opposite, like, what do you think we as a group, or, us individually, did that we should have done differently? Or, what are some of the lessons that you think we learned?
I think, to answer the first question, like Twitter is very much an ecosystem, and we knew that, and it didn't matter. We just like, well, no, it's home, right? Yeah. And we had lots of volunteers come out for sure, but we didn't go as hard as we need. We went so hard in the last month, which was awesome, but that needed to start months before. Way before, we were leading up to the Iowa caucuses. We had to be down there from the beginning. We had to do what Pete Buttigieg did, right? Every single time we'd be like, oh my God, Pete Buttigieg is killing it right now. We should have been doing that from the beginning. There were signs up everywhere when we went out to Yang Week. They were organized. They had 23 offices while we had 2 at that time. If we started earlier and we were knocking on doors and making sure that we could just take those proper steps that we know that lead to actual votes, we just need to do that earlier. I think that's what it was. And it was a crowded field. It was a very tough, Yang won. He kicked ass, but it still wasn't, it was unbelievable. But there's still more we could have done. I think we're a lot more prepared for 2024, especially paired with the fact that Yang's reputation is only, blowing up. People respect him far more, yeah.
Yeah. So when you got there, our friends in the Buttigieg camp, it sounds like your perception was they had been there for a while and had already dug in, and we were just sort of like our paratroopers are just starting to land.
Yeah, it was like we just started running the marathon, and they were like an hour and a half in.
Yeah,
and we were trying to catch up to them. It was because it was unbelievable, the amount of Pete Buttigieg signs on every massive street corner we would see, right? It was like it mocked us, Tom. It was like there's another 40 of them right there. And during Yang Week, when we went to the convention where Yang was speaking, like the hill walking up to it would be about 400 Pete Buttigieg signs, 400, even Amy Klobuchar signs. Like it was that they were that prepared for that. And we were like what Zach Grauman says, right? We're building a plane as it flew.
Yeah.
We experienced that firsthand. Yeah.
By the way, Nell.
Hey, what's up, Nell?
He wants you to say Yang Gang one more time. He misses your energy.
Gang.
I feel that energy. I love it. What do you think we did that worked well that we should do again for the next go?
What Humanity Forward did was just so awesome in organizing Yang Week. Like they were very, very good at what they did, and we just had to do that earlier and did it on a bigger scale. So like busing them, like Bernie supporters, they were busing people in the entire time. I think Yeah, humanity forward. We did that really well. We focused on making sure that people were on the ground. We had grassroots, actual organization. I still talk to the guys from humanity forward all the time. Yeah, I think we did that really, really well, making sure that the volunteers were taking steps that maybe the campaign wasn't doing so much of.
Now, when you look at Yang Gang today, you mentioned you're still sort of staying on top of things, or actively observing the conversation.
Mhm.
What's your take? I mean, I mentioned that we touched on the fragmentation. What do you think is what's your assessment? Because you're kind of an insider, but a little bit of an outsider now. You can have like a perspective that maybe some of us don't have.
Mm, mm. I think the place that we're at right now is we're finding out who the people are who are ride or die for Yang. They're like, you can do anything, and we're still gonna stick by him. I think that's coming out more so. And at the same time, I think we are amplifying the voices of people who are actually doing activism right now, which is amazing. Like Will, what he did in New York, with Asians for Black Lives Matter. That was awesome. I think that's coming out, and I also think that we are doing something really smart, which I thought like maybe we wouldn't hit this point. Is we are putting our energy towards those running locally. That's awesome. That's sick. Like what we're doing for Mike Broiler, what happened over there in even Heidi Briones in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like that, I think that was really amazing. We made that pivot well, and it showed that it really wasn't just about Yang. It's about the movement, and that came out to be true in the way people on Twitter are supporting.
Do you ever think that you'll throw your hat in the ring someday?
Oh, to run?
Yeah.
I don't like it was with the Yang stuff. No, I don't, because I'm super passionate about it. But like the things that I feel like I can do is just content, make videos, make media. I feel like if I came into office, people would be like, "What are you doing?" Because I'd constantly be letting people know what's going on through that mode, and I think that's the way it should be. I think Yang did a great job on IG Live all the time, but I think I can do a lot more in pushing what I want through media.
And have you talked to Andrew since the campaign?
I have not.
Yeah,
I have not.
If you could say anything to him, what would you want to talk to him about, or what would you want to tell him?
I'll give him the biggest thank you for like just what he did in terms of getting me, to volunteer, go out and do activism. I learned so much about that part. I feel like I grew up so much more experiencing Iowa, experiencing the political world, living with people. So I'll give him the biggest thank you, and I'll also tell him like I'm the Yang Gang still here. Like we're here to do what you believe is the direction. There's so much trust that still exists there.
Indeed. It was a special time for all of us.
Yeah, it was.
I really, I also was a little bit blindsided by the suspension when it happened, and now when you look at the world, it's like, wow, you can't help but wonder what would have happened if he were the second to last man standing.
Yeah, right.
And right now, like, who knows? It could have been,
because his argument, because like right when it happened, like we were on YouTube Live when that happened, me and some soy members, and we were shocked. Right. So at that moment, it was shocking. It made more sense when everyone dropped out like that week and the week after that, because it tells me, okay, these are people who understand, like, yeah, the numbers don't add up. He's not going to make it. But the question is, like, really in the position we're in now with Joe Biden, and like, I mean, I'm on TikTok all day, and these kids are saying, like, what are we going to do? Like, their videos are like, they just, all you see is replayed moments of Joe Biden stumbling his words over and over again on TikTok. None of those kids are going to be inspired to vote. You vote for someone, not against somebody, and not enough people will vote against Donald Trump, and they're not going to vote for Joe Biden, right? So in like for further extending at this point, yeah, if Andrew was still in the race and so like just existing as a participant, then I do think it'd be a very different scenario.
Painful. So let me ask you this, Kai, when you're thinking about Yang's sort of proposals and policies, are there areas that you feel like he could have done a better job in terms of explaining them or covering issues, or do you feel like no, he he had the full sort of package, and it just wasn't meant to be? Or do you think there's anything that he could have done better?
His response on healthcare was weak at the beginning. That's huge. That definitely stifled his growth. And also his response to immigration, which was kind of the Republican route, which is saying more people on the border, more people on the border. And then like the hard problem is so many issues get alleviated and we don't focus on them so much if UBI exists. Like you can say like, yo, the biggest incentivization to become a legal citizen in this country is the fact that you will not receive UBI if not. And that is a true thing that really would not that balance doesn't exist anymore. Right now, if you are an illegal immigrant in this country, you know, you in my eyes, you're an American. You live here, you do what you do. You pay, a lot of times they pay taxes. But when you're not receiving a grand a month, that is an actual argument. You can say people are going to be incentivized to do the right thing if they know they're going to have stable income when they live in this country. But people aren't going that deep into Yang's policies to realize that. So I think if he figured out ways to, like, people say he pushed UBI too much, but if he figured out ways to incorporate the ways that like our problems would be alleviated because of it, that would have been a lot better. And immigration was a big point. My dad brought that up many times. He goes, I just can't, it's a hard sell to my friends because they know what he says about healthcare. And we know what Yang truly means, but you know, it's all a perception game. It's all how you say it on TV. It's how the pundits talk about it.
Yeah. And was your dad hardcore single payer or where was your dad on healthcare when you said?
So my dad was Bernie, then went to Yang. Same with his policies towards healthcare. But it was an interesting discussion because my dad cared a lot about the way he talked about automating away a lot of things that we can in healthcare to make things cheaper. You know, there are ways, you know, like that's what Yang talks about a lot. And so he really liked that idea. But at the end of the day, his idea was it doesn't matter if the voters don't get it and the voters don't hear how it actually help the voters out.
Yeah, by the way, I know, Kai, you love making content and you're going to be like a future media mogul, but Miguel wants to see you run, brother. So let's talk about the healthcare stuff. Do you know what that was all about? I felt like it was a very murky position, and it was a kind of unusual for him because I always felt like Andrew, if there was, whether you agreed with him or disagreed with him, he always answered questions very directly and precisely. But I didn't feel like we got that for healthcare. Do you? What do you think was behind that?
Yeah, because people could tell that he didn't love answering that question or talking about that, right? And that's a problem when you're online because, you know, people can read right through stuff. And that was happening a lot. I think you need to be more direct and say exactly what he's thinking policy-wise when it comes to single payer versus how you can, again, back to the way that you can incorporate UBI into the discussion, people will be healthier, right? And then Yang also had a great way of talking about how, if incentivization is how these corporations work, and that extends to healthcare. So you want your incentive to be like, keep your patients healthy, don't have them come back. And I think if he talked about that more, that'd been great. But he beat around the bush a little bit with healthcare. Yeah. I felt in the beginning. He got stronger later on. I remember that.
Yeah, and even when he did his kind of boot of the plan, it still didn't, in my opinion, clearly answer the question, like, are you for single payer or are you for like ACA plus? Like either way, like I think a lot of us realize like what can get through Congress at the end of the day is going to be pretty modest anyway. So just say where you stand. Yeah. Maybe he was afraid of alienating hardcore single payer folks. I guess Maybe when he runs again, Kai, we'll have to do another panel interview with him like last time.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome day, right?
Wasn't that crazy?
That's crazy. That's crazy. That was insane. Yeah.
That was so cool. Yeah. By the way, thank you for participating in that and raising all that money.
Of course, that was awesome. It helped the campaign directly, and it shows that this system of media works in which you're trying to get, you know, what is it called on YouTube? Like link, there's a term for it. It's like branded links, right? Like that works even in a sense of like politics. If you have influencers who have links in their bio.
Affiliate links and stuff.
Affiliate links.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're getting to a point where people are engaging so much with like Black Lives Matter when it comes to online, especially
Yeah.
like influencers who do even makeup or brands or lifestyle, that they're going to take charge in certain causes and affiliate links. I think that's going to start existing there in politics. I think political teams should take advantage of that. They should look for people with influence who agree with them on platforms and set that up. And I think Yang was the first test of that. And
Yeah.
you set that up too. That was amazing, Tom. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Well, just sent a couple emails and it worked out good. And
Yeah.
you guys raised the most money. In fact, the biggest raiser was old Paget,
Paget.
who's in the live stream now. And she wants your take on, do you think young people are going to vote for Biden, Trump, stay home? Like when push comes to shove, what are they going to do on November 3rd?
Right. So I noticed, like I was saying this earlier, but like on TikTok, all you notice is these kids know the meme of Biden, and the meme of Biden is the guy can't talk. Right. We were saying that during the election, and all you see are these videos circulating, and they go viral every single day of Joe Biden saying something and he screws up, and then right away it flips the camera around, and the guy's a conservative with a MAGA hat and goes, "And you're calling Trump the racist?" That's obviously way out of proportion, right? But that argument works, and it's simple on platforms where kids are. So I don't think enough people will vote against somebody. Again, they vote for somebody. And I don't know. I don't know how confident I am that people will vote for Biden. It's I'm not too confident about that, Paget.
Are they excited? Are they excited about Kanye?
Kanye? Yeah, Kanye would be big. You know, I saw a lot of hope in what Weinstein was saying on Rogan. About Yang and McGrath, I think.
McGraven, yeah.
McGraven, right? Because I think that would be stellar. I think it really would take the Yang gang and people who can make it like, so Yang cannot just jump on that when someone says, "Hey, let's do this," right? Because that's wrong and it's going to kill any chance he's going to find success in politics. But I think if the people in Yang gang go so hard that it forces him to take it and say, "Okay, you know what? I will run third party doing this." I think that would be very interesting, and I saw a lot of hope in that interview. But yes, Kanye Paget would be a great number 2.
We've got actually in about half an hour, we'll have another Nerds live stream talking explicitly about this Dark Horse Duo / Unity 2020 conversation. I'm openly skeptical of it. I love the spirit of it. I love the chutzpah. 120 days till general election. It feels like a tight window to pull it off. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But it sounds like, well, let me ask you, Kai. I mean, what are you going to do on November 3rd?
Oh, I will vote for Biden, but I don't know if all my friends will. My friends will be like, "Dude, that guy can't talk," and their brain doesn't then go to, "Oh, but we still have to vote against Trump." Everyone really is in the mentality of you're voting for somebody, not against somebody.
Do you ever see, unfortunately, I don't spend too much time. Well, I don't spend any time on TikTok. I should, given the size of it. But do you see any TikTok stuff circling around with like clips of Trump speaking, or is it mostly just about Biden's misspeaking?
Yeah, you'll see some Trump stuff, and it's general. Like, obviously, a majority of the kids on there are like, "Oh, we don't like Trump, right? He's bad." Which, but it's more of the clips that go viral, and it's all algorithm based, right? And I'm pretty socially liberal in that way, and I'm gang. But it still gives me so many videos that I see have millions of likes, thousands of shares. So you can see how many shares each video gets, and they have like 27,000 shares, and it's of Joe Biden saying something and miswording something, and it sounds not okay. Like that's what goes big, because people don't expect that, and they just want to see those viral clips. They know what Trump is saying. He's awful. People see his tweets, but when Joe Biden says it seems to hit different on the app. And I've just been noticing that last couple of weeks, and it's kind of sad.
Interesting. Trent in Tampa wants to know, who is your dream running mate for Yang?
My dream running mate for Yang. Yeah, I like the McGraven setup. I really like someone being conservative as a running mate, because that's just the argument that even if I try to convince someone to support Yang or like his ideas, they always go back to the fact like, oh, the parties would never allow it. We lived in such a screwed up world where it's a 2-party system. If Yang chose to run with a Republican, that people would see that as not just his policies that they have to get on board with. Instead, they would be like, oh wow, this is different. This is change. You're representing everyone's voices. I can support that. That's what I'd want. So conservative that's well liked by both sides in the same way Yang's liked by well liked by both sides.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that idea as well. Like, I'm not sure. I don't know enough about McRaven,
Yeah.
but if in 2024 there were like a Yang Romney combo, I could totally get excited about that.
I mean, most people are fiscally conservative, and most people are also socially liberal, right? And so I think when it comes to that, like, yeah, picking a Republican running mate would be killer.
Nell has like high withdrawal. I know so many people who are, so excited to see you in this stream right now, Kai. Like, what do you think? I mean, I know you're going to be focusing your efforts on the commentary stuff, and it's a more general thing, and it's for a different audience.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a way for you to like do maybe like a monthly upload for the gang, or are you sort of saying, no, I really need to take a complete kind of cold turkey break until the new campaign starts?
That's the thing. Like, when it comes to the TikTok and YouTube stuff right now, like, we're posting like about 15 to 20 pieces of content every day on all these different platforms. That's been my so I wake up, I get there at 7 a.m. and I go home at 11, and it's a studio right across my street. And so that's all I've been focused on. Where I'm building a podcast up too, and so I want to be able to talk about the things I care about, like Yang on there. But for the other channel, and the Yang channel, it's just I love going back and looking at those and just seeing, like, it's like an archive, right, of everything that we went through. But I've not given thought to re-uploading on there. Instead, I just want to share with my audience. I want to talk about this stuff. Come join me on here where I'm focusing now. But I do like that idea. I'm gonna think about that, like posting once a month, be like, hey guys, quick update. Here's what I've been doing. Here's my thoughts on what's going on with the Yang Gang.
Yeah, think about it, man. I think a lot of people would appreciate it, and then it would also keep everybody warm and activated. So when you really lean into it, it'll be a rolling start. Well, Kai, what's your fondest memory?
My fondest memory
from the 2020 campaign.
Paget, it was when you and I were in Iowa for Yang Week, and we just turned the corner and randomly saw Andrew get out of the car. And we ran up. We go, what? What are we doing? And we're coming back. We're on live stream together with our little selfie sticks, and we have coffee in our hand. And Andrew just goes, Paget, Kai. And I froze. Like, it was the greatest day that I remember from the campaign. Greatest memory. And we heard Weezer play after. It was the first time everyone really got together. Yeah, that was my best memory from Yang.
What was the biggest lesson you learned during that period as an individual, where you talk about you grew a lot?
Yeah.
What do you think was the biggest way you grew?
I think the biggest way I grew, I mean, living with adults completely changed me. I say this a lot as a joke, but like the biggest realization I have is like 90% of people, like, high school still basically exists all through your life. The small problems are still constantly being debated about. And that was a big eye opener for me. So it's like, it's that people are still kind of stuck in high school in some ways, which I think is super funny and great. And also the difference between like a boss and a leader. Like, a boss tells you what to do, right? And that's not so great. But a leader will literally just do it, charge forward with it, and lead by example. And that was huge, because I met some people during Gang that were doing that, and I thought I respected them a lot for that. So that's a big lesson I took away.
I love it. Well, Kai, before we, I know we're going to wrap up in a little bit, but I should ask you, like, are there topics that you wanted to discuss that we haven't gotten to yet, either in terms of past, present, or future?
Oh, for the interview.
Yeah.
I think my best memories, that's a great time. I think, like, what are we gonna do from here is a big one that maybe I can go a little deeper on. Is like 2024. What is really going to happen? Because it's so unclear, And I think the one thing that could really bring everyone together is like a pack or some kind of group started by the Yang Gang for the movements that we care about. Humanity Forward is that to a certain extent, but it really doesn't involve the Yang Gang that big. I think Humanity Forward pack could have done something like that. And I think that would be, I could see that happening in the future. And I think people like Paget, Fred, yourself, like that leading the charge, and that would be huge. Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great topic. In that I think a lot of us were thinking, oh, Humanity Forward will be just sort of like a continuation of the campaign, and it's like, fine, we'll just sort of get ready for 2024. And I think in reality, it's trying to carve out a more independent kind of crossover audience, more mainstream, in a good way.
Yeah.
But I think it's left a little bit of a vacuum with the gang proper, and I think we're struggling to find that unifying kind of rhythm and kind of end game. Yeah, I wonder about that. I mean,
Let me say, for like a piece of hope, and like to throw this out there, like what keeps me going and doesn't put me in like a deep depth of just like yang despair is when I talk to people who worked really close to the Bernie campaign in 2016, like Nate from SoCal Yang Gang. He was heavily involved in California. He's one of my favorite people I've met through Yang Gang. He also has not been as involved. He's dropped out as like SoCal Yang Gang Twitter has not been so active. And his thing was like when Bernie in 2016 ended, the momentum continued on in some facet, like through what is it? I don't remember the organization that they created, but overall, most people just like did their own thing, and that just like the vacuum that we feel now existed within that. But they came back stronger when they announced and launched. So that's what kind of keeps me going. We're not dead; we're hibernating. Okay, and the same thing happened with a campaign as big as Bernie, someone who was really successful in the key early states. That's kind of what I just think about. I'm not overly bothered by it, and I can't wait to come back even stronger. And the same thing's going to happen to us that happened to the Burn crowd.
Yeah, I was hoping, and certainly a lot of us have done, what we can to promote Yang Gang running for Congress. And I guess I was maybe naive, thinking, well, okay, we'll push our kind of down ballot talent pool, kind of develop that bench.
Yeah.
And we'll basically quietly be the Yang 2024 campaign. But I think in reality, not everybody is sort of ready to give up on 2020. There are some people saying, hey, we should write in Yang. Some people, of course, you've got the Dark Horse Duo stuff. And then, people aren't ready to just focus on 24 and the down ballot for the Yang Gang. I'd be curious, like, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, clearly a lot of people are they can't all be crazy. They must have a good reason.
I think, like, it's back to my point. Like, we're finding out there's a group of Yang Gang who are like ride or die no matter what. I'm with Yang, and I think it's really unrealistic, right? But that's all we've been doing throughout this whole campaign as a Yang Gang from the beginning. We hold on to that sliver of hope and we fight for it. We go after it. We do it, and it makes sense that we're still doing it to this point, And I think that's part of the charm of what we do. We believe in something and we go for it 100% no matter what. And until we get told, until the evidence is there's no shot we're getting him in office. That's when we go, okay, fine, let's go focus, and we'll be right back at you in a little bit. We're just gonna go rest a little bit.
Yeah. I kind of feel like, well, I know you're in the Northwest, so I can use this analogy. Like the Hawks might be down, and it's the fourth quarter, but like there's always a chance Russell Wilson's going to do something,
Yeah.
But when the clock does get down to like 8 seconds, and if you're down by 30, it's just hard.
We're not really in the game either. That's the tough part. We don't even have a uniform on. Okay.
Yeah. It's like we're outside the stadium. It's like, dude, they're playing the playoffs. Like they're getting ready for the Super Bowl. We're not the team. This is not our season. At least that's my view. I think just to be fair to the opposing kind of perspective, I think a lot of people say, hey, we got behind this guy because we wanted to do the impossible. Yeah. We're really not excited about Biden. And, nothing's done until he's on, it's basically November 3rd. And I appreciate that. But I do worry, like, how much energy we're expending on a pretty improbable approach, given the time horizon. And I also worry a little bit, I'd be curious to get your thoughts. I kind of feel like we as influencers, lowercase I, not a big deal. But we have content, we have followers. Like I worry people will get their hopes up, and then when we need them in 2024, they're going to be like, "Well, I remember in July, you got me so excited about the dark horse, and that didn't happen. And you guys are just whatever." Do you feel like there's a risk of that, or do you think maybe I'm just being too conservative?
No, there's too many people. There's too many people that support Yang, and the group of people that would feel that burnout, I think is too small in respect to like what it would take for Yang to win. So right, so like the influencers or like anybody who makes content all the time or on Twitter all the time, we're a small proportion of people who support Andrew Yang, but we're the most dedicated. We're the hardest ones there. I think we were ride or die. 2024 will come back even stronger, and everybody else is not paying attention to what's going on Twitter. They don't know that we're doing all this. They don't know about maybe some of the people that are running that we support, right? So to them, they see his name on TV, they see that he's running, they're coming back for it. We're gonna have to drive it online and stuff, but I don't fear that too much. No, I fear more just that we don't do anything that productive to help us get to that point. And I think to get like prepare us for 2024. So I think a huge thing that I kind of want to see is a lot of people just pushing out content, making content for free, just adding value constantly and talking about the things that you care about most and making an influence as a small micro influencer. Maybe you're really good at bringing Bernie supporters over. Maybe you're really good at getting Trump supporters over. You do that and you get your 10 to 15 or maybe like 30,000 followers. That is going to help us a lot in 2024 because they're ready for that. And they trust you if you're making content that they actually like and find value out of.
You are spending all of your time now thinking about content strategy, different platforms. What advice would you have for the Yang Gang content creators? Certainly, you just touched on one thing, which is like everybody has a niche, everybody has a perspective. What else would you suggest to folks out there watching this who are already making content, or maybe they're thinking about it for the movement?
I would say like the basic like mentality is numbers don't matter. It really doesn't, as long as you have just people you love talking about what you're talking about. But numbers do matter in terms of this because influence is important. And so it's very like I'm not gonna lie, like it's very clear numbers and engagement on social media dropped after Yang left, and that's obvious, and that makes I'm sure like I don't know if you experienced that a little bit. I definitely did. Yeah, right.
Huge.
It totally makes sense, but yeah. But that's what happened. But when that happens, it has to be more like you have to find a different audience, and that was a big incentivization to keep on going with my TikTok thing. Is that I have the entire world that I can get to be my followers, and I can talk about the things that I care about, and I'm passionate about, and make change that I want to see. But when I'm making these Pearly Yang content, you're fishing for a smaller pool, right? And I think what I would advise is for influencers is just. You can keep talking about Yang and that's awesome, but it's like also you got to tap into the bigger audience, the tons of people that are out there, and that's how you can bring in and push the things that you care about later down the road. So I would advise that it's like a biting the bullet and be like, okay, fine, I'm going to do that, but yeah, it's just trying to reach out to more potential viewers and people that can really help out our movement in 2024.
I definitely saw that.
TikTok is huge. I'm just gonna say it. Like, get on TikTok to everyone. Because you post a video and you have 0 followers, no matter what, 300 people will see that video, and that engagement determines it going to 1,000 or to 30,000, right? So it's about quality versus having to promote it in different ways.
Let's get some advice on that, because as an outsider who hasn't tried TikTok, my impression is, that's, for lip syncing, it's these really short things. It sounds like the platform has evolved quite a bit where you can make, like, how would I ever make, because I don't sing or dance really. Like, how would I do that?
Right. So what I do on TikTok is podcast style, right? Tom, Nerds for Yang, you're renegading and doing the right?
Yeah.
No, but I do podcast style. So I literally have a microphone next to my mouth, and I have my talent. So I have a couple people who are always on the show, and it's fast paced. You're just throwing out information as quick as possible. And so like am I able to screen?
Yeah.
Let me do that real quick, because like you're totally right. A lot of the platform is still that, but TikTok understands the money is in personalities, and that's what happened to Vine. It's in actually people talking, because that's how you can make more and more money, right? And so I think the thing about that is it's evolving, and there's a place for everybody, and it is really algorithm based. So your audience will be will be about things that you're interested in. So here I can show real quick.
Yeah, show us one where it's not
Um,
dancing and music.
Yeah. So so can you see it?
No. But if you
Has lost permission to capture your screen.
or if you want me
Oh,
to
now I got it.
navigate somewhere, I can go look and share my screen.
Oh, I mean, people can look it up later if they're interested. It was just I was going to show what my page looks like, just because it is
Yeah,
so different
how do I
than the
find
dancing
it?
and stuff.
Yeah, how do I?
Okay.
Can I get to it from?
So if you look up,
from.
yeah. So if you look up just the Sync Up TikTok on Google Chrome, it should pop up the first one. It's called the SYNCUP, and then TikTok right after that, and it should be the first one that shows up on Google.
All right, hold on a second. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Can you see my screen?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what do you want me to search for?
It's just the Sync Up.
The Sync Up.
Yep, and then TikTok, and then the Sync Up, and then use TikTok. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's that one, the top one. So that's kind of what it's very different from dancing, right? But that style works. I think like Paget could kill it doing that, and you could kill it doing that. It's interviews. That's basically what it is.
How long are these videos?
I try to aim for 45 to 50 seconds because you can't go more than a minute. But the thing is, the full version I get is on YouTube. So I say right here, full video, link in bio, and that gets the conversion to my YouTube channel where they see the longer version of that video that they just saw. But it's interesting because I'm making it specifically for TikTok, right? But it translates to YouTube, and then I started a podcast separate with my team, which is just long form, 45 minutes versus the YouTube videos, which are 4 to 5 minutes. Because I mean, you know the game with YouTube, you can't make really money unless you're making over 10-minute videos, and it won't get pushed out as much. It'll be suppressed more. So I feel so the podcast has been helping out in that end.
Could I take
and that translates to
go ahead, Kai.
I was just saying, like, that's what I envision. Like, you could kill it doing that. Paget, Fred. Oh my gosh, Fred as a great personality with a truck. TikTok is would be amazing for that.
Could any of us take like 50-second clips from an existing YouTube video and put it up on TikTok the same way we might do for Twitter? Like take a small clip of a longer YouTube video and put it on Twitter?
Yeah.
Can we do that on TikTok or?
Yeah.
Or do you need to make one?
The only problem is that you're filming in vertical. So that's the one thing. You have to film in vertical for TikTok because it's not horizontal. But the thing is, if you do upload a horizontal video, you're gonna have black bars on the top and the bottom. And so the viewer, the perception is, oh, this is just a clip from a YouTube video. I'm not gonna engage with it so much. So by making the content specifically for TikTok or just editing it separately to be fast paced, quick, the effects, I think that's what builds the more engaging audience in that way.
Well, you've inspired me. I'm going to give it a shot. That'll be interesting. I'll have to see how
the big thing is if you have 0 followers, 300 people will no matter what see your first upload, and what they do with that, it determines if it goes to 1,000 or to 1,000,000, right? So it's just volume game. If you just post and it's high quality, no matter what, it will blow up. It's not so much like, oh, I worked hours on this great video and no one cared. Right. If that effort is in there and people take value away from the content that you make, that's what makes the platform so amazing. It's a great growth platform because we started about a month ago, and it's just I couldn't do that on YouTube or I couldn't do that on Facebook, right? That's like the unique aspect of the app.
All right, I'll give it a try in the next week. And is there a way? I don't even know what the mechanics are like. Can you like share like the equivalent of retweet other people's stuff and all that good stuff? Yeah. All right, so will you hook me up if I do one?
Yeah. I have a personal TikTok. It's a little smaller, but
all right. Yeah. Just on your personal one. I just don't want like one view. It'll be very painful.
Well, no matter what, you get 300. That's the beauty of it.
Everybody's got the first 3. I love it. It's like UBI for views.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's your main feed is a For You page, so it's just giving you constant content. So you'll get things that are recommended to you as well as content that just came out, and you're one of the people testing it and determining it where it goes. So that's part of
I
it.
love it. Kai, well, you've been very generous with your time, and I really appreciate all of the advice. And I just want to say on behalf of everyone out there that's been, influenced and really valued your energy and your commitment to the movement. Thank you for everything you did. Even though the campaign was suspended, there's a
Oh, sorry, I
lot
think
of
you're
love.
cutting out a little bit, Tom.
Oh, can you hear me now? Uh-oh. How about
Oh,
now?
it's just coming in and out. And now
Hey,
it's
man.
good, but I think your visuals aren't matching.
Okay. I was just saying thank you. I was just saying thank you for everything you've done. And I hope that we'll see you again
Oh,
when
okay.
you run.
Thank you so
make a
much.
big run.
No, this was an amazing conversation.
Cool, man. We'll have to say goodbye, nerds. Can I get a goodbye, nerds, from you?
Yeah. Yeah. Goodbye, nerd. Let's do it. Let me get it right there and get some lighting, you know what I'm saying? Goodbye, nerds!
Goodbye,
That's a
nerds!
family right there. I love this.